Okay, so this is the fourth part in our series with Dolly. This is a four-part series. Dolly was here for a grand total of 8 weeks, 2 months here at my barn. She came in for some foundation training. She was never started under saddle before she came. She had was told like an English saddle or dressage saddle on before she came here. Um, now what we're working on here in the snaffle bit is some groundwork that we want to see before you get on, some things that'll help you. So I'm not a big fan of gimmicks. So I'll get it done with my hands or my legs, and if I can't, I'll figure out why I can't. So what I'm working on here, see, I'll get a hold of that slobber strap, that little strap that my reign's attached to. This is called a McCarty rein, so it's got a lead rope kind of pre-attached. They're 21 feet long with a 9 or 10 foot rein section there. And I'll just get a hold of that slobber strap, that little leather strap, and I'll see if I can use the tail of that McCarty lead rope to ask her to go forward. So she put a little life into that tail, and she'll go forward. And I see how she kind of rubs on me there. She kind of rubs her muzzle on me. So when I stop my feet and I take a hold of that rein, then what should happen is the hind quarter should roll over behind and the horse should get straight. But what happens is that the nose is not connected, or the rein is not connected to the hind quarter. So that's what you need to have happen before you get on your horse. You need to get the rein to connect to the hind quarter. If the rein is not connecting, you'll notice what's happening here a little bit, where she kind of wants to rub on you. That's what will happen when you go to ride. The horse will bend their nose and they'll step out through their shoulder. You'll notice that they won't step ever behind and get straight. So rather than working on 10,000 one rein stops, a one rein stop is really a beginner move. One rein stop is designed so you can stop your horse and get off. It's not designed to help teach you how to control your horse. You need to get that horse's hind quarter to operate as if the rein was hooked to the hind quarter. Now here's a little bit different exercise here. I work on the rail, see if I can use that lead rope to ask her to step over and get off that pressure and get straight on the fence, and then come forward. When I step back, she should come forward. I'll use the rope to either ask her to go forward or to ask her to step her hind quarters over. Then I'll ask her to step back and stay straight. She shouldn't bend her head toward me or get crooked. She needs to step back and get straight and not push on that rein. Now if she tucks her chin, then I'll reward her for that as well, but I like to see her softening at the pole. These are all good things, but I really need those feet. I need to get to where I can control those feet. There we go. So this is just a real quick little demo on some things you can work on in your snaffle bit. I just use a real basic smooth mouth, single joint snaffle, loose ring snaffle. That's all you need. You don't need any special kind of snaffle bit. If you have a kind of a fancier snaffle, that's fine, but just a real basic snaffle is all you need to get this done. You don't need anything fancy. If anyone tells you otherwise, then usually they're trying to sell you something. So you don't need gimmicks. So you need to get to where your horse will give to you. That's the secret. There's no gimmicks you can put on your horse that are going to get through to their mind. There are gimmicks and levers you can put on your horse to force them to bend into a position, but what you need is to get the horse to where he'll give to you and bend. And you're looking to get the horse to give in the feet, and then later on to give in the mind. Now we're transitioning over into some riding. So now this is just going to show you some real short little clips of some things we worked on. If we showed you the whole video, this would be about 45 minutes long. So I didn't quite think your attention span was that long here. Some of these things are like watching paint dry. But the cool thing is like watching paint dry, it sure looks good when you're done. So now what we're working on here is to get to where that rein will hook to the hind quarter. Now what I'm looking for when that horse bends its head laterally is for the horse. I don't want the horse's nose to be up my boot. I want that horse's nose and the horse's face to be on a vertical line. So the horse is in vertical flexion more or less when she's bending laterally. So now what I'll do is I'll practice picking up my rein, work my legs a little bit, and ask her to get up and do a trot. So she just is starting to learn about some leg cues here. I'm not really too concerned about teaching any type of leg cues early on. I'm really concerned about getting to where I have really, really good control of the horse in this snaffle bit. Because the the trouble comes when you can't control the horse in that snaffle bit. That snaffle bit is your first option for controlling that horse. Gradually, later on, as the weeks go by, I'll start to incorporate more legs. But she's starting to learn that when I put a little life in my leg, then she puts life in her feet. And then I can hook those reins to her feet. See if I can do a little lope here. Now what I'm working on is a little serpentine. You can do it at a walk, a trot, and then I think I'm doing a few times at a lope here where I can pick up on a rein. It doesn't really matter where the pressure comes from, whether it's up or down or back towards your hip. But she learns that when I pick up on that rein, she needs to untrack her hindquarter, roll over behind, and get straight. So a finished horse is a horse that you can ride straight, and so that's what we're working towards eventually. Right now we're obviously in the green stage of things, but the horse needs to get straight. If the horse can't get straight, you can't control that horse. You can't control a horse that's bent. If it's bent, it's not in control. You might need to bend a horse so that you can get straight. See, when you bend the horse's head, as I lift that right rein, the head and nose and neck will bend to the right, and then the horse will roll the hind quarter over it and then get into getting straight as a result of that bend. But that's what I need to control the horse. Once I can control the horse and keep them straight throughout the entire movement, that's how I know I'm starting to progress a little bit. See if I can work on a little bit of a back up and a turn here. So I'm going to release with those feet as they leave the ground, right and left. So it looks like I'm going to see if I can just back up a half circle to the left here. Then open that left rein and bring that left front foot through, and then kind of push the right. In the beginning, I don't really press with my foot. So I don't take that right foot and press it to her. I'm not even wearing a spur. But I might take that right foot and just put a little life in that right foot. And now in this case, the left foot. Just put a little life in that foot near the elbow on a green horse. So you wouldn't be taking any spurs and poking them with spurs on these green horses. You might just use a little life in your feet to direct the life in their feet. Later on, you can kind of refine things a little bit more. But in the beginning stages here on these green horses, you're kind of in the baby stages. So you're just hooking the reins to the feet and getting to where the horse isn't afraid of your legs, but you can put some life in your legs and encourage that horse to put life in their feet. Later on, you can refine that a little bit more. Now, what I'm going to be doing is something called the wheelbarrow exercise. And I can do this at a walk or a trot. But basically, I've got contact here, kind of a soft touch on the reins, short reins here. And now when I pick up or draw one side, it looks like I'll draw I think the right side here. Good. The horse ought to stay relatively straight through their body and then roll the hind quarter over there and then walk off straight. So I'm going to use that outside supporting rein to help her stay straight through her body. So when I draw that left rein back, she ought to roll the hind quarter over and then go forward. So we call this the wheelbarrow exercise because the horse basically operates like a wheelbarrow. So this is a real fundamental move that you ought to practice and get good at. Eventually you'd get to where you could do this with just your legs. But that'll come a time eventually. There we go. So now I think we're going to progress a little further. Eventually you start to see her head dropping a little bit more. But I'm not too concerned about where that head's at. That's really not on my mind at all. I'm more concerned about how those feet are operating. If you get those feet to soften and those feet to give to you, that head and neck will give to you as well. But most riders are, even most trainers are kind of focused on that head because that's what you can see. So when you do a lot of groundwork like I do, you tend to get to where you're paying attention to a lot of things besides the head. The head's not really too concerning. The head and neck will take care of itself if you take care of the feet. So now let's see if I can work on picking up a soft feel. So when I hear the term soft feel, people don't really understand what I'm talking about. When I say soft feel, I'm talking about that horse's chin coming down and in, but it should not only be correct in the flexion, meaning that poll is higher than the withers, face on a vertical line, but that it should be light. So it should weigh almost nothing there. The horse shouldn't be afraid of those reins, but at the same time, it should be light. It shouldn't be a heaviness to it. But it should be a relaxed type response. Your horse should relax when you pick up on the reins, not get nervous and start chomping the bit There we go. Now I'm working on a little lateral flexion. I like to usually finish my sessions with these lateral flexions. I'll start the sessions by getting those hindquarters to roll over, and I'll finish the session with a little bit of a lateral bend each way, just to make sure that horse is standing there nice and settled. These lateral flexions don't really help you control the horse. They might help you get that hind quarter to roll over, which is what you need to control the horse. Once you can get that horse to roll over in the hind quarter and stay straight, then you're going to have all the control you need. But the lateral flexions are good to help show that the horse is settled, so that she doesn't want to necessarily walk off just because I pick up on the reins. So I want the horse to stay in neutral, even if I ask her to bend her nose around. Now you notice when I ask her to bend her nose around, she still keeps that face on a vertical line. I'm not asking her to bend her head all the way to my foot. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed this 4-part series with Dolly, where we're only able to show you just a handful of the things we did with her. But I hope this gives you some ideas of some things you can do with your horse at home.